Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our fifth Sunday worship. That's going to be led by our young men this evening. We appreciate that you're here. If you're visiting, you picked a great night to visit. We're always happy to have you back. So, leading tonight, our opening prayer tonight is going to be by Dustin Drinker. Our closing prayer is going to be by Calder Sazunez. Our song leaders are going to be Ricky Childers, be Wyatt Adcock, Jeffrey Johnson, Caden Jackson, and Drake Jackson. Our scripture reading tonight is going to be done by Macon Bradbury, Rowan Dearman, Ari Anderson, Easton Sharp, Drake Jackson, Casey Dearman, Colt Gullion, Marlon Anderson, Aiden Green, Arik Sazunez, and Jackson Suttles. Our lesson this evening will be conducted by Mr. Jonathan Maxwell. Please grab a bulletin out in the foyer if you get a chance for our full list, but we have a couple people we want to make sure that we mention on our list here for our sick list. Steve Gullion is in Marshall Medical Center, still having his treatment. So please keep him in your prayers. Bailey Roberts was supposed to be one of our song leaders tonight. He can't be with us this evening, so he's still out with the flu. Please keep him in your prayers and his family as well. Hopefully he doesn't spread it. Amy's nodding her head back there. Events we've got coming up. So the annual egg hunt was this afternoon, and I heard it went really well. So we appreciate the Gullions for hosting that as always. Our song and prayer service is going to be next Sunday on April 5th at 6 p.m. It's going to be in place of our lessons that we usually have on Sunday evenings. This Sunday we'll also have Mike Brooks, who will be visiting with us to do a report on Nepal and his surrounding areas that he's doing his work. And then we have the homeless meals will be prepared, not this coming Sunday, but the following Sunday, or Saturday, I'm sorry. I almost gave you the wrong day. The following Saturday on April the 11th at 9:30 right out here in the new annex, the fellowship hall. If you have any questions, please ask Lester Dale. That's great work that we do, and I recommend taking the opportunity to be part of that. So we also have fishing at the Childers coming up April 25th. Please make sure that you sign up on the sign-up sheet so they know that you're coming so they can make plans. And then last thing I want to throw out here, Indian Creek Youth Camp's registration is open. Please make sure you get registered before any of the spots get filled up. All right. As we get started here, if I've missed anything or there's anything else that we need to be put out, please let me or one of the gentlemen in the congregation know so we can make sure it gets put out. We appreciate you being here and the support that you all give these young men as they lead these services. So please join me as we enter into our evening worship.
Please bow your head. Lord, thank you for this day. Lord, please help Jonathan over there to help preach a good message. And help all the young men come up here and do their job. Thank you for being such a good father. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Guess I'm next. Who's got the? You got it. Who's doing it? Are you sure? All right. You know the song, Jude? I hope you do because I don't know it. You gonna help me lead it? You gonna start it? Do you know it? You know it, don't you? All right. Over all the earth you reign on high, every mountain stream, every sunset sky, but one request, Lord, on holy name, is that you reign in me again. Lord, reign in me, reign in your power over all my dreams. In my darkest hour, you are the Lord of all I am. So won't you reign in me again, over every thought, over every word. May my life reflect the beauty of my Lord, 'cause you mean more to me than earth. So won't you reign in me again, Lord, reign in me, reign in your power over all my dreams. In my darkest hour, you are the Lord of all I am. So won't you reign in me again?
I'll be reading from Acts 20, verse 35. Acts 20, verse 35. In everything I did, I showed you that by this kind of hard work we must help the weak, remembering the words the Lord Jesus himself said, "It's more blessed to give than to receive."
I will be reading from John 13, 14 and 15. John chapter 13, verses 14 and 15. If I then, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you also ought to wash one another's feet. For I have given you an example that you should do as I have done to you.
I'll be reading from Hebrews chapter 6, verse 10. Hebrews chapter 6, verse 10. God is not unjust. He will not forget your work and you love you have shown him as you have helped his people and continue to help them.
Hard fighting soldier. Oh, I'm a hard fighting soldier on the battlefield. Yes, I'm a hard fighting soldier on the battlefield. Oh, I'm a hard fighting soldier on the battlefield. And I'm bringing souls to Jesus by the service that I yield. I've got a helmet on my head, and in my hands my sword and shield. I've got a helmet on my head, and in my hand my sword and shield. I've got a helmet on my head, and in my hand my sword and shield. And I'm bringing souls to Jesus by the service that I yield. And you've got to walk right and talk right and sing right and pray right on the battlefield. You've got to walk right and talk right and sing right and pray right on the battlefield. You've got to walk right and talk right and sing right and pray right on the battlefield. And I'm bringing souls to Jesus by the service that I yield. Oh, I'm a hard fighting soldier on the battlefield. Yes, I'm a hard fighting soldier on the battlefield. Oh, I'm a hard fighting soldier on the battlefield. And I'm bringing souls to Jesus. Yes, I'm bringing souls to Jesus. Lord, I'm bringing souls to Jesus by the service that I yield.
I'll be reading Mark chapter 10, verse 35 through 40. Mark chapter 10, verse 35 through 40. Then James and John, the sons of Zebedee, came to him, saying, Teacher, we want you to do for us whatever we ask. And he said to them, What do we want me to do for you? They said to him, Grant us that we may sit, one on your right hand and the other on your left, in your glory. But Jesus said to them, You do not know what to ask. Are you able to drink the cup that I drink, and be baptized with the baptism that I am baptized with? They said to him, We are able. So Jesus said to them, You will indeed drink the cup that I drink, and with the baptism I am baptized with, you will be baptized. But you sit on my right hand and on my left is not mine to give, but is for those whom it is prepared.
I'll be reading from 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 10. 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 10. But by the grace of God I am what I am, and his grace toward me was not in vain, but I labored more abundantly than they all, yet not I, but the grace of God which was with me.
I will be reading from Titus 3:8. Titus 3:8. This is a faithful saying, and these things I want to affirm in you constantly. Wait, hold up. Yeah. This is a faithful saying, and these things I want you to affirm constantly, that those who have believed in God should be carefully to maintain good works. These things are good and profitable to man.
I'll be reading Galatians 5:13 and 14. Galatians 5:13 and 14. For you, brethren, I have called to liberty, not to use liberty as an opportunity for the flesh, but through love serve one another. For all the law is fulfilled in the word, even in this, you shall love your neighbor as yourself.
I'll be reading from 1 Peter 4:10. As each has received a gift, use it to serve one another, as good stewards of God's varied grace.
I'll be reading from Matthew 25, verse 35 through 40. Matthew 25, verses 35 through 40. For I was hungry, and you gave me food. I was thirsty, and you gave me drink. I was a stranger, and you took me in. I was naked, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you visited me. I was in prison, and you came to me. Then the righteous will answer him, saying, Lord, when did we see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and give you drink? When did we see you a stranger and take you in, or naked and clothe you? Or when did we see you sick or in prison and come to you? And the king will answer and say to them, Assuredly I say to you, inasmuch as you did it to one of the least of these, my brethren, you did it to me.
All right, Caden would like to lead Blue Skies and Rainbows, but just one verse. Okay? Ready? Start it.
Skies
and rainbows and sunbeams from heaven are what I can see. When my Lord is living in me, I know that Jesus is well and alive today. He makes his home in my heart. Nevermore will I be all alone, since he promised me that we never would part.
I will be reading from Colossians chapter 3, verses 23 and 24. Colossians chapter 3, verses 23 and 24. And whatever you do, do it heartily, as to the Lord and not to men, knowing that from the Lord you will receive the reward of the inheritance, for you serve the Lord Christ.
I'll be reading from Isaiah chapter 6, verse 8. Isaiah chapter 6, verse 8. Also I heard the voice of the Lord saying, Whom shall I send, and who will go for us? Then I said, Here I am, send me.
I don't think I need the step stool, but I appreciate the guys that did need it. You guys, y'all are great. This is always an uplifting time when we can do this on the fifth Sunday. You guys know that our theme this year for the youth group is ready to serve. So tonight we're going to talk about being ready to serve. And I want you to know that you guys, you've already served this evening, and I appreciate that. You guys did wonderful. Sounded great. Some of you proved you can read. That's fantastic. So I'm proud of you. I know you're probably wondering why I'm rummaging around in a basket, but more about that later. I'll expand upon that here in just a moment. Wanted to thank, before we get started, Steve and Tammy for letting us use their farm this afternoon. We all had a great time hunting Easter eggs and chasing children, and we appreciate them for allowing us to use their property there. And especially if y'all are watching, Steve and Tammy, Mr. Steve, we hope you get to feel better very quickly. We know he's in the hospital dealing with some stuff, and hopefully he'll get over that pretty soon. All right. Imagine if one small idea could help people all over the country. That's exactly what happened to Jaquil Jackson. He saw people in his community who didn't have enough food or supplies. Instead of walking by, he asked himself, how can I help? That question changed everything. Here's the big idea. Jaquil decided to make blessing bags. These were simple care packages filled with things people needed every day. Each bag included items like socks, toothpaste and toothbrushes, snacks, water. Jaquil gave these bags to people who needed help, along with a smile and a kind word. Soon, Jaquil's idea grew bigger and bigger. He started a group called Project I Am, which helped many more people, and many others joined in to help make and share blessing bags too. Jaquil didn't need superpowers. His superpower was kindness. He taught the world that small actions can make a big impact. Caring about people makes the world better. As of 2025, through the distribution of blessing bags and youth-led volunteer initiatives, Project I Am has raised nearly $1 million and impacted over 250,000 people in need worldwide, from shelters in Chicago to disaster zones in the Bahamas and community centers in Ghana. And if you'll notice, these look a little familiar, don't they? We do similar things with homeless bags that we put together and with the bags that we send home to students through that program, through the schools in Morgan County. Excuse me. All right, so first off, I'm not a preacher. I'm going to apologize for that right now. I do a lot of teaching, however, so that involves back and forth, which I know it's not how it works tonight. So just bear with me the best you can. I want to see, does everyone have their Bible? If you've got your Bible, put it up. I know some of you guys up front have your Bibles, so this is good. Phones count too, you know, the nice digital versions. So we're talking about service, we're talking about serving others, we're talking about kindness, we're talking about all of these wonderful things. And in the middle of all that, I want to ask you a question. Does anyone recognize what these flags are and what they represent? Some of you belong to some of these flags, and we appreciate that. Who comes to mind when we talk about serving others? When you say, you know, thank you for your service. If you don't know, these are the flags of our armed service branches, okay? So a lot of times you'll hear people say to someone who has served or is serving actively, thank you for your service. They're doing a great service. They have a great sacrifice in their life, that they are selfless in the actions that they have. What about this? All of these are first responders. Okay, we have dispatchers, corrections officers, emergency medical services, nurses, firefighters, police. If you ever have something bad happen and you're in need, the service of these people is absolutely life-saving in a lot of instances, right? So they are very important. What about these people? I'm going to have to explain this one a little bit because they're not labeled. You got teachers, you got janitors, you got nurses, you got lunchroom ladies, which is very near and dear to my heart. Love lunchroom ladies. You have principals, you have gym teachers, you have coaches, there's doctors, there's all kinds of other people that render services to the public. That in the school system, these teachers, these administrators, and all of the support staff, they take care of our students. They serve our students, right? So why do people choose to do these things? The first thing that you might think is paycheck. That's why. But yes, that is a way to make money. That is a career path. That is a way and a means to provide for your family. But it's deeper than that. If you were to go to Google and you were to search reasons people serve others, you'll get this back. To experience increased happiness and purpose, reduce stress, build community, and grow personally. Acts of service release feel-good chemicals like dopamine and oxytocin, fostering a helper's high and improving physical health. So this is the man-made answer back for reasons people serve others. This is man in his wisdom discovering what God's already revealed to us, okay? So let me ask you another question. And I know, and I've already explained to you, I'm more of a teacher than a preacher, so there's going to be a lot of questions tonight, and I hope you're ready for that. As Christians, why should we serve others? You ever thought about that? I mean, we all know it's good to serve people. We all know it's good to help others. That's ingrained in us, especially if we've been going to church for any long period of time. But why? As Christians, why should we serve others? Well, it's because of the example established by Jesus Christ. Remember that Bible we looked at a minute ago? Let's crack that open to John chapter 13. Let's all turn to John 13. We're going to read verses 1 through 17. And I know it's lengthy, but please just bear with me for just a moment. John 13, verses 1 through 17. Now before the feast of the Passover, when Jesus knew that his hour had come to depart out of this world to the Father, having loved his own who were in the world, he loved them to the end. During supper, when the devil had already put it into the hearts of Judas Iscariot, Simon's son, to betray him, Jesus, knowing that the Father had given all things into his hands, and that he had come from God and was going back to God, rose from supper. He laid aside his outer garments, and taking a towel, tied it around his waist. Then he poured water into a basin and began to wash the disciples' feet, and to wipe them with the towel that was wrapped around him. He came to Simon Peter, who said to him, "Lord, do you wash my feet?" Jesus answered him, What am I doing you do not understand now, but afterward you will understand. Peter said to him, You shall never wash my feet. Jesus answered him, If I do not wash you, you have no share with me. Simon Peter said to him, Lord, not my feet only, but also my hands and my head. Jesus said to him, The one who has bathed does not need to wash except for his feet, but is completely clean. And you are clean, but not every one of you. For he knew who was to betray him. That was why he said, Not all of you were clean. When he had washed their feet and put on his outer garments and resumed his place, he said to them, Do you understand what I have done to you? You call me teacher and Lord, and you are right, for so I am. If I then, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you also ought to wash one another's feet. For I have given you an example that you should also do just as I have done to you. Truly, truly, I say to you, a servant is not greater than his master, nor is a messenger greater than the one who sent him. If you know these things, blessed are you if you do them. So here's the next question I want to ask you after reading that passage. That passage was probably very familiar to all of you. Does my life reflect anything similar to what Jesus is demonstrating here? So what's he demonstrating here? What's he demonstrating for not just his disciples then at that time, but for us now here in this room, modern time? What is he demonstrating for us? Well, before all of this, before these events took place, in Philippians 2, verse 7, he emptied himself by taking the form of a servant. We all know what a servant is. They serve, right? He exhibited humility by washing his disciples' feet. He took care of his people, knowing even that one would betray him. His service was driven by love, not obligation. He served without partiality, including the one who would betray him, and that would lead to his death. Can you imagine serving the people that we do serve? For those of you that have been in any kind of service industry or are on these projects that we do to serve and help others, some of them are complete strangers, okay? What if you knew that person, and what if you knew that that person was going to lead to your death? Would that change your attitude in service? Something heavy to think about. Another example here. The feeding of the 5,000, recorded in all four Gospels, and the 4,000, which is recorded in Matthew and Mark, are distinct miracles where Jesus provided for crowds in remote areas. The first involved 5 loaves and 2 fishes with 12 baskets of food left, targeting a primarily Jewish audience, okay? While the second used 7 loaves and a few fish with 7 baskets of food left for a largely Gentile crowd. There's a lot of things going on here in this act of service that Jesus was involved in. Here he is demonstrating compassion. Let's turn to Mark chapter 8, because I want to read an excerpt from that. Mark chapter 8, this is the feeding of the 4,000 with the largely Gentile crowd. Mark chapter 8, verse 23. I have compassion on the crowd because they have been with me now 3 days and have nothing to eat. And if I send them away hungry to their homes, they will faint on the way, and some of them have come from far away. He was worried about their well-being. He was worried about how long they had gone without food and what condition their bodies would be in. And he showed compassion. That's the definition of compassion. He worried about their state. There was a need here, and he was attentive to that. A lot of times it's easy for us to go on our merry way in our everyday life, just kind of going through our normal routine, our schedule, not really notice a whole lot what's going on. Jesus was attentive to their needs in this situation. So again, I want to ask you, does my life and the things that I do in it reflect anything similar to what Jesus is demonstrating here in this situation, this scenario? So our annual theme for the church for this year, seek, serve, and share. Tom has already presented several great lessons on this theme. Our youth group theme is ready to serve, as a lot of you, if not all of you, know as well. And then we got with Wyatt and the 5th Sunday, the series of 5th Sundays that we will have throughout the rest of the year, the theme there is going to be Make Me a Servant. Okay? Do you see a theme here? It's almost like it was planned and coordinated. It absolutely was. This was planned and coordinated probably about this time last year, I believe. Tom gave a lesson he gave a lesson about this very thing, and we went with it, and it turned into this. And then later on, we got with Wyatt, and he said, hey, let's roll this over into the Fifth Sundays. And so here we go. All of these three themes that we have work together. They work for a common goal, and all of it's centered around bringing attention to who, where, how, and why we serve. Turn to John chapter 13. John chapter 13, verses 34 through 35. Jesus says, a new commandment I give to you, that you love one another just as I have loved you. You also are to love one another. By this all people will know that you are my disciples, if you have love for one another. In Romans 12, verse 10, love one another with brotherly affection. Outdo one another in showing honor. I apologize when I say too many words, it dries me out. So, in 1 John chapter 4, verse 7, beloved, let us love one another, for love is from God, and whoever loves has been born of God and knows God. The lesson that Tom gave that morning that kind of sparked the ignition for us planning the next few months for the next year, which, you know, you're supposed to be prepared, and I guess planning almost 7 months in advance for the next year is being prepared. The whole idea behind the lesson that morning was bringing your basket full, ready to serve, rather than bring it empty, ready to be served. So, in other words, bring your basket full, ready to serve others, rather than bringing it empty and saying, hey, what you going to do for me? What am I going to get out of worship from you? And that's going to apply to more than just worship service. In your life, in your job, do you bring your basket full, ready to serve others, or are you bringing out your basket ready for the handouts, ready for someone to put something, kind of like trick or treating? You know, you see the kids when we do trunk or treat, they come around with their buckets ready for candy, right? Kind of the same idea. We don't want to be like that. We have plenty of examples to not be like that. I probably gave it away by accidentally advancing the slide too fast, but I'll ask you something. What do you think this is, guys? A bag, yeah. What do you think this is? Well, it was lolly bread, but you know good and well that lolly bread tastes so good that it does not last a full 24 hours, and it's been a little while. I think it was last Sunday when Lolly gave out the bread, right? So it was lolly bread. You all know this basket. This was the idea that came together when we were talking about what we should do for our theme. So this basket that Lolly brings when she gets this bread together, she has all these loaves of this delicious golden bread, right? Yeah, right? So that's always the reaction I hear. But she brings this basket full of these loaves of bread, and me and Tom were talking about that lesson, and I said, did you get that imagery that you used from Lolly and the basket with the bread and giving it out? No, I didn't think about that. So I was like, well, you're sitting next to one of the best examples we have of this illustration. So that's why we have on the logo, we have the basket with bread in it and everything. So just to kind of give you insight to that. Paul says in Acts 20:35, which is the verse that you'll see inscribed on our bracelets and in the logo for the youth group theme this year. Acts 20 and 35, Paul says, in all things I have shown that in all things I have shown you that by working hard in this way we must help the weak, and remember the words of the Lord Jesus, how he himself said it is more blessed to give than to receive. How many times have you guys given a gift to somebody? It feels good, doesn't it? When you help others, when you're supposed to do your chores anyway, but when you do your chores and you help your parents out, hopefully you feel good. Hopefully you get something out of it, right? I would dare say Lolly gets joy out of bringing a basket full of bread and handing it out. I know somebody enjoys the bread from over here. We all enjoy the bread. It's delicious. I love the smell in the car when we're on the way home and someone's birthday has hit and we got a loaf going home. But it's more blessed to give than to receive. I'm sure she feels joy and feels blessed from that act that she has. I know that as a parent, this is a dynamic that changed. Well, it's been a while now for me, but when you're young, when you're about you guys' age, Christmas morning hits, we're happy, we've got gifts. When a birthday hits, we've got gifts, we're getting stuff, right? It's a good feeling, sure is. But when you get on the other side of the ball and you're a parent, after you get over the sticker shock of providing gifts for Christmas or birthdays or stuff like that, what do? You stand back, you watch the kids get the gift, they open the gift, they're in awe because it's what they had asked for. This is amazing, this is great. And you feel a real blessed feeling that you were able to provide that for them. And then they play with the box. But that's always what happens, right? Yeah. So it's more blessed to give than receive. That Google search that we did, it releases chemicals in the brain. They didn't know that at this time. Jesus, this isn't what he was teaching. That he wasn't teaching you neuroscience and brain chemistry. He was just telling you that it's more blessed to give than to receive. So let's roll over into another question. What are some ways that I can serve others? Well, we've got a lot of projects. This is a very giving group. We do a lot of stuff. That's not a pat on the back. That's not bragging or anything. It's just the kind of hearts that you people have, and that we all get together and we work together for a common good, and that's to spread the love of Christ. So what are some ways I can serve others? We have a coat drive in November. Please don't pay attention to that date. This is from last year. It might not be on November 8th. Just Jeff's giving me some looks here, so. To be determined, but it will probably be in November like it is just about every year. So what do we do in this? Well, we have visitors come from the community. It's going to get cold. Jackets are almost a necessity if you want to stay warm in the cold weather in the winter. So we have an opportunity to provide a need for these folks. What also happens when we do this? We also have an opportunity to share the gospel, to spread that, which is much more important than just giving someone a coat. Our goal never has been just to give someone a coat. Our goal has been to fulfill that minor need and segue into a major need, which is a spiritual one, okay? Something else, helping to prepare homeless meals. If you haven't participated in preparing or delivering or any step of the process of working with the homeless folks in Huntsville, I highly suggest you do so. This is definitely one of those times where you get that more blessed to give than to receive feeling. That is definitely something you can get involved in. It's also another opportunity for us to fulfill a minor need in people that are very desperate for these essential items. You remember those blessing bags that Jaquil, that we talked about at the beginning? Very similar to the types of things that we take over there to the homeless camp in Huntsville. If you want to get involved with that, talk to Dale. Dale can get you online with that. Wes can give you details. Tom can tell you some stuff. There's a lot of good that can be done from that, and a lot of opportunity to pray for folks, to spread the gospel. We hand out Bibles. We, have a lot of opportunity there to help. There's an opportunity coming up mid-May at Priceville High School to help feed families in need. Now, these pictures are from Brewer from about 2 years ago, I believe. there was a large effort to put together some food and some necessities for some families in need in the area. And a group of our folks went and helped distribute these things. There's going to be another opportunity for that coming up about mid-May. I'll get more details for that, put that together for you, so that way you'll have them. But there's another opportunity to serve other people and to get out there and to talk to people and to share the gospel. You have those opportunities to have these gospel conversations with people. They're very receptive when they know that you care. How do they know that you care? You're giving them food. You're helping take care of their family. It's evident in that act. ICYC, Indian Creek Youth Camp. Very near and dear to our hearts here at Union especially. There's a lot of opportunities. We got a work day coming up, 4/4. That's next Saturday. So we go down, we help clean, we get with Bert, and he tells us what needs to be done around the site to get ready for the campers that are coming in during the summer. I can't stress to you enough the importance of this week. All of these weeks, but for us, week 6 and AP week for the ones that get to go to that. But week 6 for us, this is a week where the kids are disconnected from the world and the distractions of it. Some of us adults are too, and that's a great thing for us even. But it's such a spiritually uplifting time to disconnect from all of the distractions and to be strengthened and encouraged in spiritual matters. Now, there's opportunities to volunteer at Indian Creek, need kitchen staff, counselors, you know. So what can I do to serve? You can do that to serve if you want. Donating supplies. There's never been a time that I know of where they said, hey, we're good, we don't need any help for the supplies at camp. This hasn't happened yet. It'd be great if it did, but it hasn't happened yet. So you can donate resources, not just your time in volunteering, not just your time in going down and preparing for the summer. You can donate resources. They have a Amazon wish list that's still active. You can donate monetarily to the camp as well. So what are some practical everyday ways that we can serve? All of that stuff seems kind of lofty. All of that stuff seems kind of involved. A lot of times, ways to serve, it's not one size fits all right? Not all of us are going to be able to go out to distribute food to the homeless. Not all of us are going to be able to engage with people and give them coats. Not all of us are physically going to be able to go down to Indian Creek and help get everything ready for the summer sessions. But what are some more practical ways? What are some things I can fit into my everyday life? Well, you can be an encouragement by sending a note, text message, or letter to someone who needs a boost. This is part of that, part of what Jesus exhibited in knowing and looking around and seeing that the people that were following him had been following him for 3 days. He was aware of their situation. We could be aware of other situations. We've got to just pay attention. If you're aware that someone is down and needs a boost, be an encouragement. Send a letter. Something as simple as a text nowadays. I can't tell you how much it boosts me. I know you guys get, some of you get a good boost from that as well. Hospitality, invite neighbors or someone lonely over for meals. Somebody who maybe lives by themselves, or widows and widowers. Neighbors, if you don't know your neighbors, then get out there. Invite them over, or just invite them out for a meal. Errands, offer to pick up groceries, run errands, or take a person who needs help to an appointment. That's a practical way to help. Chores, help with yard work or cleaning for neighbors and friends, on top of the chores that you're supposed to do for your parents, of course. That's important, okay? But look for people who physically can't get their yard work done, okay? Help them out. That's a great way to serve. Acts of kindness, pay for the person behind you in line. That's kind of a resource-heavy one to pull off. Or just hold the door open for someone. Random acts of kindness go a long way. And you'd be surprised, especially now that the society that we live in, if you hold the door open for someone, you usually get a smile and you usually get a thank you. And you can say, you know, thank you back, or how's your morning going? And you can start a conversation that way. That's a great way to serve. Serving in worship. You guys, what you're doing tonight in helping and serve with our worship service, you're absolutely helping. You're leading prayers, you're leading singing, you're reading scripture, you're gonna, some of you are gonna help with communion. And you know, in putting this together, it tickled me because it's been there for as long as I believe that we've been here. The list, the header for the list for duties for worship service says those to serve. That's absolutely a way that you can serve others and help encourage others. But I don't feel like I have anything to offer. I hear this one a lot. I don't have anything to offer. When it comes to serving others, I'd rather just stay in my lane and stay away from everyone. And I don't feel like I have anything to offer. I don't feel like I have the right talents to do this. Or I'm too young to do anything. That's absolutely not the case. If you remember Jaquil from the story I read to you at the beginning, you want to know how old Jaquil was? I withheld the information that he was even a kid, hoping that I'd get one over on you. Jaquil was 7 years old when he started this blessing bags operation. 7. How many of you guys are 7 or younger? There's a few, yeah, there's a few of you, right? So, no, you're not 7. So, he was 7 years old when he started to realize that there was people around him in need. That's huge for a 7-year-old, if you know a lot of 7-year-olds. But he picked up on that and he started that project, and that's how he served others. You do have something to offer. I want to make that point clear to you. You do have something to offer. You might have to sit, you might have to think about it, you might have to figure it out, but you do have something that you can offer, okay? Seek opportunities to talk about the Bible with friends, okay? How would you do that? Well, we've got a few things to help here. So, have you ever had a discussion with folks at school? A great way to start a gospel conversation with somebody are these. What are these? These are our bands that we use that have our annual theme on them, right? So it's got Ready to Serve on it, Acts 20:35. What happens when you hand this to somebody, and we do this little experiment when we go to Exposure, when we go to CYC, when we go out and about with the youth group. The kids go out and they hand these to people, and it can start a conversation. They've started some good conversations in the past, but not even just when you're handing these out and giving this to people to start those conversations, if you're just wearing it. Sometimes when you're getting groceries even, or somebody will ask, hey, what's on your bracelet there? Well, let me tell you, conversation starter, okay? Discovery cards. How many of you guys like the discovery cards that we offer? Yeah, they're fun, aren't they? How many of your friends at school would benefit from something like this? Maybe they don't go to church that often. Maybe they don't go to church at all. Maybe you have an opportunity there to say, hey, here's a pack of trading cards, and then you can start that gospel conversation with that friend. If you want some of those, let me or Pop know. We will absolutely get you connected. Adults, there's a lot of you adults that enjoy these cards too. So, you know, it's not just for the kids. It's a very positive tool. We have study Bibles. One of the things that we believe in giving out things and resources like this, we have a great resource in this AP Study Bible, okay? We buy these by the cases in order to give them out, to put the Word into people's hands, because that's what's going to make the difference in their life. We can give them a coat, we can give them a meal, we can give them, you know, small things like this. But what's going to change their hearts? The Bible, the Word, right? That's going to make the bigger impact in their life. Adults, geared more towards adults. You kids can read it too, but the lost art of reading things like a newspaper. I don't know that you guys even know what a newspaper is. It was these big pieces of paper that you would open, it would have news in it. But having something like house to house, heart to heart, something tangible, something you can say, here, why don't you take a look at this? Very good conversation starter to seek opportunities to talk to others. Well, you can write an encouraging letter. We've already talked about that, but let's talk about it in the sense of, I